Hey guys, Sean Bougie, surplusfundsriches.net. Welcome to the webinar. Couple notes real quick that you need to know, especially those guys that this is the first time you're joining us for the webinar. It will be live. There will be live. The chat room will be live for you. Please do not use the Q&A. We will ignore Q&A. People that use the Q&A, the question and answer. We need you to use the comments, the chat section, and I'll open that up here in just a minute. A couple of quick announcements. First of all, I'm really proud of the guys that have been working the new program we launched January 1st. Unbelievable amount of files turned in, and really happy to see the number of states that are currently on that particular list and how well you guys are working that and creating your own lists. It's it's amazing to see that. I had talked on a video that I put onto YouTube about the importance of community, and it's important you guys see that we have had success with that. Over 8 deals under contract already just on that. Of course, we're still doing the Florida and the P16 and the national systems too, and we're getting deals on those as well. Just amazing to see it though. Phenomenal work ethic from you guys. Unbelievable. The other thing I wanted to touch on is we're going to stop emailing you guys announcements of the webinars coming up. And the reason is, for like the last 2 years or more, we've had a webinars tab on our website, surplusfundsriches.net. It'll always give you a calendar of the upcoming webinars. At that day, usually the day before, I'd say the day before, you can go there the day before the calendar day, and there will be a link where you can sign up for these. We're just trying to limit how much we go after you guys as far as letting you know about webinars and sales. We just don't want to be cluttering your inbox. You know that we don't send you 20 email offers and one example after. We don't do that. So that's very important to us to continue to do that. So we will not continue to send you emails reminding you about that, because the webinars tab will tell you when the calendar day is on the website, surplusfundsriches.net. That'll be on there for you in advance. And then just go the day before or the day of, and you'll see where you can come to the link and jump on it. We'll also do our socials. We've had a lot of success, frankly, from the social media stuff, YouTube, Facebook, TikTok, even for sake, Instagram. Had a lot of success with that, with reaching out to folks. So we will also use those. Everything, just so you guys know, is the same name. The YouTube channel is Surplus Funds Riches. The website is surplusfundsriches.net. Facebook, everything, Instagram, TikTok, it's all Surplus Funds Riches. I'm going to open this up to questions. Remember, guys, because some of you guys, again, are new, and some of you think you've got to wait for these webinars to ask questions. If you purchased our ebook, it tells you exactly how to use support right inside the ebook. Support is available. Jeff typically gets back in 1 business day. He has up to 3, but he typically gets back in 1 business day. You can always use support for post-purchase questions. Just do us a favor, and some of you guys found this out. If it's something that's readily accessible in the ebook, hey, Jeff's going to lead you back to the ebook or the videos or the resources page. You've got to keep an eye on that, guys. Any changes or updates are going to be on that resources page. And my fear right now is with the folks, there's a couple of people that are kind of struggling. And my fear is you opened up your ebook, found the link to the videos, clicked on that, and didn't read the ebook. Read it. This is a new skill set. We tried to go heavy on videos, especially on the last one. However, it's going to take some reading and some work on videos, watching the videos as well. Let us get started here. There's a files download. If you don't see it, you'll see it in just a second. I'm going to enable chat right now, open it up to questions. And guys, there's a files tab here, or where you can download. Let's make sure it's available. Yep, it's sharing. You can download that file. That is an overview of all of our programs, what they are with both the programs and the bundles. Any and all questions are welcome. I've opened up the chat now. Again, please don't use Q&A. We're not going to look at that. It's 2 separate areas for us from our end. Jeff is moderating in the background. So please use the chat. It's open right now. Any and all questions you guys have. We've got until about 8:30. We try to run this quick and answer as many questions as we can. So if you guys could jump in, good evening, JW. If you guys could jump in and let us know, that would be great. Okay, do we ever need to contact the title company to get foreclosure sales information? Okay, I would use exactly what he's talking about, the panning for hidden surplus funds. I would use exactly what we told you how to do it, and it goes in line on exactly how to do that. That's how you're going to get the sales information. Don't try to, we've got a lot of guys trying to reinvent the wheel. While you guys are doing that, we've had over 15 states turned in, and we're getting some great responses here. And like I said, 8 under contract so far. Emmanuel, no, we're going to continue to have webinars. We're just, all I asked you to do was to go to the surplusfundsriches.net and click on the webinars tab, and then you can go ahead and see the calendar there whenever you like. As a new member, after I submit a file and don't get email feedback within 3 business days, and also don't see the file on the update list, should I assume the file is not accepted and can then submit a new different file? No, okay, I would just resubmit the file. This is very rare that something like that happens, but if it does, I would resubmit the file if you got no response. Now, guys, do me a favor. Something's going on. There's a couple of guys where we've kicked back files and we've gotten no response from folks. And I don't know if you're not checking your spam folders or what's going on, but we've repeatedly tried to reach out to people and been unsuccessful in getting in touch with them. So watch your spam folders and watch all that carefully. Watch your email. Good evening from Alabama. All right. On a trustee deed, hi, Sandy. On a trustee deed, when it comes to a husband and wife or 2 people that are on the deed, when it states deceased in the trustee's deed, do we assume that both people are deceased and therefore not pursue the case? Thanks. So, Samra, there's a couple of different answers to that, actually. Okay. First of all, we're going to skip trace them. So, when we skip trace, we use really good skip tracing systems. We've actually had people argue with this, and we're just not going to argue about it. Really good systems that'll tell us if they're deceased. If it says they're both deceased, they're both deceased. But if you're not sure, sometimes it's ambiguous. I understand that. If you're not sure and you think maybe one of them's deceased and there's still going to be 25,000, even when we split it in half, go for it. All the rules are online for your particular program. I've been recommended to only use PayPal for payments from claimants. Is this something you recommend? I've been recommended to only use PayPal for payments from claimants. Sean, okay, we do it a lot differently. They sign a power of attorney to our attorney. I don't even care if it's an area that doesn't require an attorney. We use an attorney. We also use structured buyouts. I actually give them 10% of the gross amount being held within 10 business days after they sign my contracts. That gives me an opportunity to have our attorneys double check and make sure there was not additional debt not caught by our researchers before I send that out. But that we get the money to our attorney, who then breaks out what they're owed, sends the rest of the money to me, and I pay the claimant myself. So we don't have claimants contact us or pay us. I think that's crazy. I think if you're assuming they are going to pay you, you're going to be out a lot of money. Laura, hello. I purchased a new painting for Hidden Special and just now getting started. Where do I get started? Laura, read the ebook at least twice for comprehension, and then click the link and watch the videos. That is probably the most comprehensive course that we put together as far as video tracking with the ebook. Read it and watch the videos, and it literally tells you what to do, guys. Jim, I found some counties don't allow online access to the recorder data. Would a title company data be a good workaround? Jim, I just move on. I don't know which counties you're talking about. If you're talking about Georgia, they do, but you have to sign up for GSCCCA, which is cheap. It's $25 a month, and that gives you access statewide. I haven't had an issue with finding register of deeds or recorder's office information online. I just haven't. California can be a little bit difficult. Some of the counties will charge you some money for access, but I just haven't had an issue with that. Is this only for tax overs or also for mortgage? Tax and mortgage. I'll have got your first initial A. Works with tax and mortgage overages. Sandy, is Alabama a good state to work deals in? Yeah, we've done deals in Alabama. Laura lost the sound. That must have been on your end. Um, Dawn, do I need an LLC business? You don't. You can work, well, you can work on your own as an individual or sole proprietor, in which case you can go just get a DBA. In a lot of areas, particularly like, for instance, North Carolina, where I'm at, you can get a DBA and actually get a tax identification number for that DBA. DBA is a doing business as, also called a fictitious business name. However, a lot of people like to get business names. If you're working as a researcher or partner with us, we can 1099 you as an individual. So you don't have to have an LLC or a subchapter S corp. A lot of people ask me about LLCs. Guys, tax questions aren't good to ask, and I'll tell you why. It's different person to person. So for some people, it's going to make more sense. For me, particularly, it made more sense to have a subchapter S or chapter S corp. But it's up to you if you want to have an LLC. Just to clarify, is it okay to work a file if the last owner prior to foreclosure is an individual, not an LLC? You can always work files if it's individuals, Lissa. Like it was an LLC that owned the house forever, and then they quit claimed it at the last minute. See, Lissa, you're seeing why it's so important to check, aren't you? Deeds of transfer. Quit claimed it at the last minute prior to the foreclosure to a human. Yeah, that's fine. Terrence, what about Louisiana? Louisiana's fine. They've got a little bit of differences down there. French law, it takes a little longer to get the money out, or at least that's been our experience. But yeah, Louisiana's fine. This was Alameda County. They were hiding behind a claim. This is Jim's question again regarding register information or recorder information. They were hiding behind a claim that if it would expose for political figures. I have no idea. Oh, I've seen that done before, where they go, "Oh, we're gonna hide some information here because it's in the best interest of our individuals, even though it's Freedom of Information Act type of stuff. It's it's public record." I hear you, but that's usually they're still going to make the rest of it public, and people have to actually request to have their information redacted. Jim, if I move on, I mean, 3,200 counties, guys. Will I be able to get help on making the calls? If you buy our program, we'll teach you how to do it on your own. You can get the national surplus, though. That's bundled in on this next sale coming up the 3rd of March. It's bundled in with the Premier 16. On the national, you don't have to call. You're researching. You're getting your own list. Not hard to do. Researching the debt against the property at the time of the sale and ownership, of course. Filling out a worksheet with that, turning it in. We find them, call them, mail them, put the deal together. Hire the mobile notary. With that program, we pay 8% of the gross amount being held. The average right now is around 45,000 to 50 grand, so that comes out pretty darn good. 3,600 to 4 grand for each deal that we put together. Of course, we pay you when we get the money out. Yes, it works both tax and mortgage overages. Do you know which states permit the deed information searches? Emmanuel, what Jim was bringing up was one particular county in a state, and you could still get them in other counties in that state. So it's more like what don't, right? Georgia, you have to pay for it, but a lot of people still work it because there's so much opportunity there, and it's not a lot. It's $25 a month. California can get expensive because you're gonna be paying per document in some counties. For the mortgage history page, do I list the document number of the document that satisfied the mortgage to show it transferred? That is what I understood from the book and the videos. Yeah, it's exactly how it's written down, Renee. There's different spaces for different information in there. Why don't you chase deceased people's heirs? Thanks, James. First of all, we've done that before. And guys, this is a really good question because a lot of people try to go down rabbit holes. First of all, you don't know who the heirs were. If there was a will, they could have willed everything to the uncle. You don't know that. Secondly, it's cost prohibitive. It can cost a lot of money to open up an estate. We're not going to chase stuff that's a fool's errand. And a lot of people get caught up in that. And I'll tell you what always happens. It's a $250,000 overage, and people get excited and they can't let it go. Let it go. Hey, Sean, I've been pulling properties that have just been recently foreclosed and closed 2 to 3 weeks and waiting for registered deeds to update files to send to you. Most of them, the dependent file, lived in the property. In your experience, are these people harder to find with skip tracing as they more likely have just left the property? No, actually, it's funny. It's a great question. So either really right away is awesome because they haven't changed cell phones or anything like that. Also, because we mail not only them and their possible relatives and associates, but because we mail right away, if there was a forwarding order, it's getting to them. Okay, so right away is awesome. Stuff that just happened is fantastic. And then there seems to be after about a month, for about a month or two, they can disappear and then they're going to pop back up. We actually re-skip trace everybody ongoing just to see if something else came up. And by the way, they use credit headers to determine, to find out where the people are. And so a lot of times people haven't gotten the new savings account or whatever. So it takes a little while to get that. These are good questions, guys. Thank you. Sean, we have struggled to find lawyers that have the knowledge about surplus funds and are willing to learn to establish a relationship with us. Any recommendation on sourcing the best lawyers to work with us? A couple things, Sean. If you bought the ebook, it's in there, right? Call the bar for the state and ask for a recommendation. Call the county and ask. Don't say, look, I'm not trying to ask you to recommend an attorney to me. Just tell me who's actively claiming these funds. You can also go after real estate attorneys. They tend to get it pretty quickly. What we do is we have a central attorney around where we are. We hire them, and the power of attorney goes to them for everything. And then they hire attorneys in other states. So we've got their paralegal is nonstop at doing that. And they have a lot more credibility with outside attorneys doing it that way. It really greases the wheels, guys. Ryan, I looked at a bunch of properties that said sold on auction.com the other night, but couldn't find record of the sale on the county's deed records. Are jurisdictions just slow, or am I missing something? So, Ryan, in redemption states or in some counties, they're actually a little slower putting that on. That's one of the reasons why we asked for that deed, and you can't turn it in without it, because without the deed, it hasn't technically transferred. So we've got to have that. It depends on the area. I would also move along. Ken, good evening. QPublicNet does not cover California. Which equivalent website covers California? Thank you. Hey, Ken, we told you how to kind of look stuff up. We don't help with third-party sites, okay? So we don't give recommendations other than skip tracing if you're doing this on your own. We really don't give recommendations on that. We teach you how to figure it out and to use Google searches and that type of thing. But we've gotten burned in the past by recommending third-party sites or trying to help people work with third-party sites that we're not familiar with. So what we do is we tell you, hey, use their tutorials, find them. If you can't find it for that area, for the information you want, move on. What are the expenses that come out on the 50/50 program, Roger? Now, remember, the 50/50 is only available in the Diamond Bundle. You are finding them, calling them, mailing them, okay, skip tracing them. And when they're ready to speak with us and you have the right person, you turn it over to us and we take it from there. So that would be the costs. I don't know how many cases you're going to turn down. Sorry, I'm not avoiding your question here, but even if I knew the number, I don't know which one you're going to use. We have recommendations for skip tracing and that type of thing. I'm very high volume. Even with super high volume, I have multiple skip tracing programs, IDI, Microbilt, and believe it or not, White Pages Premium is very good at doing a reverse lookup. That's kind of our fallback. But we like IDI and Microbilt for a number of different reasons. I thought I remember reading that we can purchase LLC or business and then go claim the funds ourselves. Is that correct? Yes, you did, Jay. That's in our Zombie Business Reviver program. And I thought you were talking about something else earlier for you, the gentleman that asked the LLC program question. Jason Izell. Oh, sorry, shouldn't. Doesn't matter. There's like 50 of you in the United States. If there's anything that skip tracing is taught me. With the hybrid, do you think the bankruptcy courts will work with us with an estimated amount, or should we contact the trustees to see if we can get an actual? It's going to be tougher, Jason, to work with an estimated. You're going to need to have a little more information for them than that. But give it a shot. I'd like to hear how you do with that. That's a really powerful program. That was the hybrid surplus hybrid, guys. That's where if you can't find the people or they don't want to work with you, or if there's too much debt, you can still do a quick check using our hybrid program to see if they went into bankruptcy a couple of years before or after the sale. If they did, bankruptcy court always has priority claim to everything. They're usually not recorded at the county, so you don't know about it without checking it on pacer.gov. But that is really hot because they'll give you a 25% referral just for telling them where the money is. That's a really good program, Jason. Rosalani, again, I don't know if I'm pronouncing this right. You're very active on these. If two people are on a deed and it doesn't state with rights of survivorship and one person is deceased, can we still work the case providing there's at least 20 grand? Yes, Rosalana. Look, rights of survivorship, joint tenants with rights of survivorship just means all of it transfers from one to the other. Okay. If one of them dies, the other one's entitled to at least 50% because their name is on the deed. Okay. So yes, as long as you meet the minimum criteria for money, that's a good go. Good go. Samra, if I see that there is a POA, can I still submit the file? I don't understand what you mean, Samra. I'm going to need you to be a little more specific. Terrence, hey, Sean, you said Shane. That's okay. Sean, what would the best program to buy with a partnership with you? Honestly, guys, I mean, the easy answer is the bigger the bundle, the more value you're getting because the cost per course goes down, and people tend to regret not getting a bigger bundle once they get started with us. Having said that, obviously the diamond can be cost prohibitive for a lot of people. It's, I think, $23.97 now. So I would at least get the best of the best, though, just because it's got a lot of really cool programs. It's got the Floridas in it, which is a separate program, and we're keeping competition low in there. It also has North Carolina Flipmaster, which is a flipping program in North Carolina, which takes advantage of a loophole that only North Carolina has, which allows us to actually go beyond the foreclosure date, which is really cool because of the way they have a 10-day upset bid. Also has the national in it, national surplus, national deed flip. It's just a great program if you can afford that. If not, get at least the Pro Pack. That's the lower end of that. And we are having a special on the meter drop. Now, that's going to be good for especially, it's got Bankruptcy Gold Mine and the Ultimate Finder in it. But another thing that's nice about the meter drop that's going on sale, the 3rd and the 4th, and you can still add stuff to it. But the other thing that's nice about it is for folks that are already working surplus and want to have some other tools in their tool chest, and that's a good way to go. All right, David J., can I submit if only the stated deed holder is deceased? If the only stated deed holder is deceased and the foreclosure sales deed does not reference the deceased, but rather someone else, can I assume the name stated in the deed holder at the time of the sales foreclosure? You can't assume anything, David. If they're showing a transfer for someone other than who you have, then you don't have the right owner and you need to look that person up. You've got to really look at deeds of transfer as you go through the record. You've missed something is what I'm trying to tell you. JW, is an attorney needed to work mortgage overages? It is extremely highly recommended. JW, look, we use attorneys on everything, tax and mortgage. Very highly recommended on mortgage overages too. Is MS a good state, Mississippi, for tax overages? You know what? I haven't seen a whole lot turned in from there, but I don't see why not. Roger, what are your expenses on the 50/50, such as what the attorney is paid and so forth, so that I know what I get net? Okay, so you're getting 50% of net. Our attorneys generally run us 10 to 13%. We typically give the owner, depending on the dollar amount, 50 to as high as 60. If it's above $50,000, $60,000, we'll go up to 55, 60%. So, but assume a 50% payout and 13 to the attorneys. That's 63%, 37. That leaves you 18.5%. Sean, our business currently focuses on unclaimed property, such as life insurance accounts, stock, etc. We have found the business model has many flaws with the processes and client management. In this webinar, considering shifting to mortgage overages through your course. Don't limit yourself, Sean, mortgage and tax. Wherever you get a list, work it. If you could speak on your opinion on the two different focuses for surplus funds. Sean, I would go to the site, surplus, download this file in here, guys. I'd go to there and read the overview of each program. Mortgage and tax overages are fantastic for us. We haven't had an issue with it. I mean, that's basically all I've got to say about it. Because we use attorneys and a structured buyout, we give them 10% of the gross up front as good faith money and the rest of whatever we agree to when we get the money out. And we are on the hook for the attorney. Because we do that, use a power of attorney to our attorney and the structured buyout, we do not fall under any of the finder laws. Also, we can tell people where the money is because they can see a value in what we do because we're hiring the attorney. We're giving them 10% of the gross up front as good faith. And we have incredible instant credibility. Does the BK Gold Mine work for Chapter 13? Roger, I haven't taken a look in that in a while. I've had a lot of people had success with it. Bottom line is the person still needs to owe money to the court one way or the other. If they liquidated assets and came shy or short, or if they have an agreement with the court where they're on some kind of a payment plan, or if the court agreed to take less, but there's still more money outstanding, that's how you can approach it. Jeff says, please only use chat. Apparently, we're getting some Q&A, people using the Q&A section. Again, guys, we are not going to be emailing you anymore about these webinars. You're going to have to go to surplusfundsriches.net, okay? And you're going to have to click on Webinars tab. It'll give you the dates, and then the day before, the day of, there will be a link right there in on the Webinars tab where you can join us. We're just not going to overrun you guys with emails. With regard to power of attorney, what I meant was that if the owner of the property is on the deed and it's stated that they're on the trustee deed, but I see that they have a power of attorney, could I still submit the file? Whoever's on the deed, Samra, whoever's on the deed, that's who we're going to go after. Even if there's a power of attorney for them, we're first going to go after them. Does that make sense? Dave, how does your program differ from Bomb Diamonds? We partner, we give you partnership options, JW, worth a third of the cost, if not less. We don't upsell you. He and a few others are trying to upsell people anywhere from $15,000 to $50,000. We give you the partnership option. We use attorneys in every instance. We don't play the game where we try to use contingencies or assignments. That's gone by the wayside years ago. We don't do that. The other thing is we use a structured buyout. So we actually give them 10% of the gross amount up front, and then the rest of whatever we agree to on the back end. We do that for you, by the way, if you partner with us. That's part of our deal. How early can we buy? The 3rd, it will start, Jay, at 10 a.m. Eastern time on March 3rd. It probably says in there through March 4th at 10 p.m., but this last sale we had in February, we sold out a couple hours early. So I wouldn't go past that, the 3rd. I think that's Friday. I'd try to buy that day. Hey, Sean says, RJ. Hey, RJ. Jay, working bankruptcy, I think you said to work 2 years before and after the overage. I was recently told a new law is only 6 months after. No, Jay, there's no law that pertains to this. It basically gives them an idea of where they can go with it. I'm sure you read something though. I'm not throwing shade. RJ, just want to know the typical turnaround on payment for submitted files. Typical, RJ, when we get in touch with them, it takes us anywhere from 3 to 4 weeks to get in touch with them. At that point, our attorney goes to our attorney, they get on the docket. That takes 3 or 4 weeks to get in front of somebody or to make sure that they've reviewed the claim. And at that point, the court cuts the check. It's generally 2 to 4 weeks. So overall, the average is around 3 months. It can be longer in some states. It can be a little bit shorter in some. Next sale is March 3rd at 10 p.m. That's right. Samra, do you have suggestions as to how to stay organized when researching addresses? I'm thinking I need to keep a spreadsheet. Yes. Of the different counties and states that I research. Your thoughts? Yes, Samra, exactly. Do that. Now, of course, once you turn it in, remember, you have access to our active files list. Some researchers actually use that because it shows all the active files that we're currently working. Obviously, you check that before you turn in a file to us. If you're going to partner with us, that way you don't duplicate someone else's efforts. But at the same time, you can check on there and check where you are with yours, with your different files. See that make sure that they made the list, right? So you can check on there for that as well. And some researchers use that as kind of their backup of the list of the people that were working. But as far as what states and counties you've worked, obviously a spreadsheet is a wonderful idea. I mean, that's just a great idea. Guys, I think that's it. If you were trying to use the Q&A, I can see there's some in here. Again, we didn't use that. We always use chat. And again, not going to send you an email. It's twice a month. It's usually every 2 weeks, pretty much. We're not going to send you an email in the next one. So remember to go to surplusfundsriches.net, click on webinars. You'll see the date of the next one. And then that day or the day before, go back there and you'll see a link where you can sign up, because we're going to stop emailing folks nonstop about this. I very much appreciate the turnout, guys. Great questions. Thanks.